Hey YouTube family, James Green, short series shenanigans, doing more woodworking on the bolt gun build. So, as you guys know, I've been talking about accent wood and stuff, and I got a very dry mouth. Time to hydrate there. So, the wood we were talking about, and it's similar in grain structure, and I got the piece over there that was just the sample, whatever. Got some new wood, or a larger piece, because we're going to have to, because the wood store I go to, it only gets so thick, and this stock is like a really it's thicker than normal. So we ended up getting a long piece of 4/4 African mahogany, and we cut it, glued it together, laminate. Now we're going to go back and square it up and start getting the dimensions closer. And I've showed this before when doing woodworking on the stock, and I've had people say, hey, you know, we'd like to see some more. So I just got it in the mill vise here. I cleaned up all the oil from my last operations. You may hear a beep go off behind me. I've got my oven running, so if you hear beep beep, that's the heat, that's the alarm letting you know, okay, it's up to temperature, and I'll have to stop and go over there and bring it up. So it's loading up, it's heating up, got some neat stuff going on. So anyway, we'll move the camera down, I'll show you what we got going on. We're just going to be squaring up this piece of African mahogany for the bolt gun build, and right now we're just getting it to where it's square. So I've got this fly cutter on here, and I did sharpen a wood bit. Again, I've talked about this before. This one in particular, I honestly believe this is a shop made one, and I acquired it several years ago. But yes, we are running left hand backwards with the bit, and that's fine because you can run it either direction. But I happen to have a bunch of these that are already kind of ground left hand, and so I just sharpened it up. It's just a high-speed tool bit. Came in here, touched off, and you could tell this is the sapwood edge type stuff. It's real furry, so we're going to go ahead and get everything squared up. Again, two pieces glued together, and we're running 1100, or let's see, yeah, running 1115 RPM on the Bridgeport here. And I always have people ask, how do you keep from blowing out? As you notice, we're coming this way so that as I talk about it, when you're woodworking on, I'll make sure that doesn't blow out, there we go. So if you were to come this way with it toward the outside edge, chances are you could blow out or splinter. So again, it's like carving, wood carving against the grain. So you come in here, same thing when we come back to this side, we're going to feed in, because the way our tool is spinning, doesn't matter whichever way the tool is spinning, you need to make sure that it hits toward the edge and the center. Now, if you were doing a small piece, you'd want to only come in, let's say we were only doing a piece that's half this thick, because these are two boards glued together, you would just, same thing, you would come in here, regardless of the size of whatever you're using, you come in here and you make sure that the swing doesn't protrude past the other side. So regardless of the width, and then you come back on the other side, do the same thing. You just feed the other way, and that's how you do the cleanup. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already got a height set, kind of a rough, and let's see what we got going on here. Right now there's no critical dimensions, so we're just squaring everything out. You can tell by the panel in the back there about how fast we're feeding. On the dial over here we're about 1.5, because it just goes from 0 to 9. So, you know, if you wanted to sit there and if I wanted to put my RPM gauge and figure out inches per minute, you could, but nothing super critical. Just doing a light cut. And the reason I chose African mahogany is because it's very similar in grain structure to American walnut. Matter of fact, here is a piece that I took off of the stock, and you can tell, you know, I'll show it, but you can see, you know, it's different in color. but the grain structures are very, very tight and very similar. After we make this pass, I'll show you the color comparison. It's actually going to match up pretty good. Now normally doing this, I would have a vacuum running so that I can vacuum up as much of this as I can, and I would have my filter mask on, but for video purposes, I'm not doing any of that so you guys can see what's going on. And I guess we could probably speed up a little bit here if we wanted to. Again, real sharp wood bit. We're just doing a cleanup. Well, let's speed it up a little bit here. Cutting real nice. And we're going to square up, you know, all 6 sides of this before we go to try to fit anything to the stock. And then we've got to go and figure out some measurements, and we'll actually use this exact tool to whittle, to quote unquote whittle it down to our desired dimensions. Cleaning up real nice. Since we got a lot to cut, let's see if we can speed this up a bit. Still cutting pretty good. Nice clean cut up. Tell as this comes off the back side, it's actually folding some of the stuff over a little bit, some of the grain structure. Again, we're not shooting for any critical dimension right now. We're just getting a good flat surface on everything. Okay, so pretty smooth for what we're doing, you know. This coming back the other way was actually kind of folding the grain structure up a little bit, and you can see just the, anyway, it's working. Okay, so now that you guys can see that it's not washing it out. Okay, here is some pieces that I cut off so you can tell what I was talking about as far as similar in grain structure. I'll zoom the camera in so you guys can get a good look at the grain structure and stuff again. Okay, you can see what I was talking about as far as, let's see if I can get a good, that's too close, pull out a little bit. Okay, there we go. So I'll add some light so you guys can see, that'll help. So very tight grained. Okay, again, American walnut, there we go, that'll give you a good comparison. You can see there why I chose this wood. Okay, I'm trying, there we go. Okay, so you can see why I chose this wood, very tight, similar in grain structure. Alright, I like it, and it matches well, and I think these woods, since they're very similar in grain structure, because we don't want really two dissimilar woods that are really radically different, because they're going to expand and contract according to temperature, moisture, all that stuff. And I am not a professional woodworker by any means, okay? I'm, you know, there's guys out there, I know there's viewers that you guys probably do this for a living and have done it 30, 40, 50 years, whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. People get ambitious and they think the two woods look great together, and they'll build a cutting board and they'll spend a lot of time and effort and get them together, or they try to build a segmented bowl, and they're so different of a wood that they end up, they get moisture changes or temperature and they split and fall apart. So similar in grain structure, good color combination, light and dark, nothing too radical, so I think it'll have a good accent. So that's what I'm after. Nothing too super scientific about that. A couple of quick blasts. How's our oven coming? 1221. Yeah, I put that crucible in and it's sucked all the heat out, so it's having to heat back up. So, all right, let's endo this thing. Flop it over. All right, and I've taken the time to clean. I took a little carb cleaner or acetone, whatever you want to do, and made sure I got the oil off so I didn't have oil transfer. What you could do is, if you're also concerned about it, have a piece of wood underneath, block wood, that would hold it up off the vise. And for obvious reasons, I'm using wood here on the sides because we don't want vise marks into the our wood that we're working with. So again, we're not down to critical dimensions yet. We got a lot to take off. We'll get there. All right. Make sure, and I rotate my tool so that I know I'm not going to go past, because you don't want it to go past this side, because then you could conceivably blow out. Okay, and I will actually do that on purpose, since we have a lot to take off, just to show you guys what can happen. Now, there's a lot that's got to come off one end of this from here down, so, and then on the side, so I'm not too concerned if I do have a little piece. Again, every wood's going to be different. Every tool is gonna, so experiment, and I'll just go ahead and show you. It may splinter out, it may not. We'll just go ahead and we'll just do this in one pass, and let's see. Now, I haven't changed the height any. Let's run it this way and see what we got. Because I know there's variations in the wood. We'll just do a quick pass. Make sure. There might have been some variations. Okay. This side was relatively flat. Okay. We'll go back to just to make sure. Now we'll go ahead and raise up a designated amount. So there was just that one little spot right there where it started to touch. Okay. We're going to raise up now. There's 30 thousandths. Depth of cut. And we'll let it feed. It might cut fine. You know, it might try to blow out a little bit. And we already know we're going to have to make another pass, but I don't want to try to take off too much. Sometimes you can get away with light cuts. But you can see that side's already dropping off, so. Which I knew this board was a little taller than this, just because when you glue things, they kind of tend to shift a little bit, even though I had them clamped. Yeah, we're still going to have to go down quite a bit. I'll even I'll back it up and still run the pass this way so you guys can see the cut. But you can kind of see there in the middle where it's trying to splinter out a little bit. Back it up. Wrap it back the other way. Another 30. If you watch that edge, see how it's starting to blow out? See what I'm talking about right there? Creating a little peel edge, trying to blow out. It's exactly what I'm talking about. So I wanted to demonstrate that. See how that's peeling away on the back side? And that could, if you're doing any serious depth of cut, that could create a problem. That was demonstrating exactly what I was talking about there. It'll try to splinter away, and you don't want that. Another 30. Same thing as last time. You know, we'll split the difference so that way we're not getting away from our tear out. Can't see it from there, but we're clearing up the tear out. You can see as it produces. You can see a little piece here on the end, but that's going to definitely go away with all our other, that's not a showstopper right there. But that could conceivably, if you're doing a real big depth of cut, could create a problem. Or depending on the type of wood you're using, it could get really nasty really quick. Again, right now we're just squaring everything up. So I figured I'd show you guys an example of what not to do if you can avoid it. Again, everybody has their own method to the madness, and I'd love for you woodworkers to comment out there. I know I've got viewers that you guys have been doing this for a lifetime. Love to hear, I love to learn new things, Back the other way, finish the cleanup pass. Try not to wash it out. But you can see, as it's trying to on this side of that, even though it's 30 thousandths, you can see as it's trying to splinter away. That shows just basically exactly what I'm talking about. Whoop. You see how it's trying to tear out right there? That perfectly demonstrates what I'm talking about. When it gets to the edge, it wants to blow out. That's exactly what I've been talking about. And you want to avoid that on a large scale on your outside edges. In here it doesn't matter because, we're just squaring things up. We'll wrap it back. There you go. My My oven's fixing to go beep, beep, beep here shortly. So, there you go. I figured that figured there. Working on figured wood is pretty interesting. I've got some old figured oak and maple over there that I'm going to work on, or bird's eye maple they call it. But anyway, so there you go. I figured I'd show you guys because I did have some people inquire about, hey, please explain more, and this was an ideal opportunity to show on a small scale why I cut the way I cut, whether you're using a fly cutter or an end mill. When I was talking about when you use an end mill in wood, because you can, and you know, you get dust everywhere. Like I said, normally I try to run when I'm doing this with a fly cutter. I've got a bit, you know, the big floor sweep thing. I'll have one of those that's about that wide, and I'll hold it, and it catches the bulk of everything, because you know, you do have to go back and clean up, and that's the price you pay for working wood on your metal machine and vice versa, whatever. But hey, you know what? It's all part of the hobby. I enjoy it. And we are at 1383. The oven's fixing to go beep, beep, beep. I've got stuff in there baking. So then it has to sit there and soak for another hour and a half or so, hour and 45 minutes, I think, on this batch. So yeah, I had people ask before, and they mentioned on my other heat treating video, I had people actually copy and paste directions. I was like, hey guys, I know how to color case harden. When I was doing the horseshoes, I was trying to figure out, number one, you don't know what metal is in the horseshoes. Like I've always said, they're, you know, rebar essentially is all they are. They're a junk metal. But anyway, I have done color case hardening a lot. I was trying to figure out on my big crucible heat and soak temperatures. Now on this batch of stuff that I've excited, you guys have probably, if you followed me on social media, you've been seeing certain things that I posted. Hey, what's this? There's you a hint. I've had people, hey, what is it? What are you making? So that project kind of got delayed, but okay, we're back on track now. Got a couple things going on, and it's going to beep at 1400. I'll have to go back. There you go. And that lets you know the loud alarm. When you press the alarm button, that lets you know that the clock starts. And there you go. I've blowed the camera out with all the... Got the air conditioner running in the background, so there you go. All that good stuff. And so now it's going to count down, keeping its heat. I love that thing. I've had people ask me about it. If I would ever have to buy another, that's actually made by Even Heat. It's the HT1. You can get it from Brownells. And so, matter of fact, move the room handle. You guys can probably see the controller over there. It works great. Haven't had any issues. I love it. I've owned three of these ovens over time, and love them. Haven't had any problems. Definitely get the loud alarm kit, so that way if you got stuff going on or whatever, you got, you know, if you're running a noisy mill or a lathe, you can hear okay. And now it's going to sit there and hold 1400 degrees for the next 105 minutes ish. And so we'll fire up, you know, we'll move everything over, fire up our quench material, material solution. I've had people ask, what am I using for a quench solution? It's a, depending on what you're doing and what type of metals and what you want, your solutions can vary. A lot of it is art or trial and error. And I will say this, your quenching solution, you don't dump it after you get done each time. With some, and depending on what you're using, you guys can read on the internet about this, as it's kind of like a stew. You know, the more it sets, the better the results get, kind of, you know, marinates. So, you know, and you go in and you clean out your charcoal. And so, but this we're going to be doing, I've got parts I'm going to be dumping and stuff like that. So I'm not going to do that on camera. You guys have seen stuff like that before, but you will be looking social media, Eagle Dust Off 37 on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. I usually just share videos on Twitter. I post pictures on Instagram. Public email address, eagledustoff37@gmail.com. So there you go, lots of stuff going on. We're boogieing along slowly but surely on the bolt gun build. Working, this is going to be the fore-end grip stuff, and I've got to trip up some wood for the cheek well. So we've got the vast majority of our metal parts done that are going to go into the stock and everything like that. Got more, I don't want to show that now because that's like a separate, I'll show in another metal video. But we created the lug already. I've made a new lug, bigger, beefier, better. We have to still go and do some refining and polish, and this is one of those things, it's kind of like there's a lot that goes into it, you know, and you just, you know, for those of us that are perfectionists, machinists, woodworkers, or take pride in our work, you're always wanting to make sure, okay, when I do this, I want it to look good. And so there's been a myriad of revisions in this bolt gun build. Everything's subject to change. You don't like the way something looked, do it over, you know, or you're doing something and you make a mistake, you learn. There's a lot going on, like I said, in the buttstock of this thing. There's a lot of busyness going on and lots of stuff, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, I appreciate it. Like I say at the end of all my videos, and I truly do mean it, take care of yourself and take care of your family, because at the end of the day, you and your family is all you got. Up here, giving a link, guys, Summer Bash 2016, June 25th, Rancho Cucamonga, California. Going to be having a great time out there. I'm already getting stuff packed in anticipation for heading out there. I'm taking lots of neat tooling, stuff like that, all sorts of goodies. I love doing trade and looking forward to seeing, you know, my fellow YouTube contributors and you, the viewers. You know, you guys get to watch us all the time. You know, we have no idea what some of you guys and gals look like. Looking forward to meeting you. So RSVP, let Stan know, show up, get your tickets. I strongly encourage you, if you're going to stay more than, you know, we got hotel rooms. The Marriott Residence Inn has a fantastic deal that they've offered just us. Contact Stan about the details. In the video, he has a video up about it. Find out more. I know there was a limited number of rooms. I don't know if they've already been taken up, but there you go. Spread the word about my channel. Click the like button down at the bottom. Positive comments are encouraged, please. Thank you. For those of you that don't do the social media, message me through YouTube or my public email address, eagledustoff37@gmail.com. Until next time, you guys be safe and wear all your protective equipment. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.